What's going on YouTube? As you can probably tell by the side profile, this isn't the usual Pilot or Passport, but the name does still start with a P. This is the all-new Honda Prologue, and today we're in Napa, California to thoroughly test it out. And we want to know, should you buy this instead of something like the CR-V Hybrid? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Alright, so let's get things started here with the exterior design. So with this Prologue model, Honda went for what they call a neo-rugged look. And that does mean that it's going to look quite a bit different than what you have on your traditional gas-powered Hondas, of course. But one of the things that really stands out about this design is the fact that it is still pretty conventional overall, despite being a full electric model. We don't have a lot of the crazy gimmicks like you do with some of the rivals. So up here in the front, we are going to have this kind of faux black fascia running across the top. And we also have some black accents down here on your lower fascia and a place for airflow to come in. Now you have 3 trim levels with this. It is going to largely remain the same between those 3 trim levels, but you can add some HPD accessories, which can do some things to the grille and other areas of the vehicle. Now, coming over here to our headlights. Again, these are gimmick-free headlights. We don't have any light bars or anything like that. Instead, we have nice LED headlights standard across all models. These are reflector LEDs, and then you have your turn signal and daytime running light across the top. Touring and Elite trim levels will also come with LED fog lamps. Now as we walk around to the rear design, it has a very sleek look to it. And by my eye, it doesn't really look all that much like existing Honda crossovers, such as the CR-V Hybrid.
No, it's definitely going to have that unique look. So if you like the way this looks, this is pretty much going to be the only Honda SUV that gives you that. Now, let's go ahead and break down some of those elements that make this design so unique. So first of all, we do have a pretty sloped off rear glass piece, but we do still keep the rear wiper. Now, you also have the Honda branding down here that's kind of spelled out across the back. This is their new electrified branding, and it gives you that overall kind of retro look that I really like with this Prologue. Now, let's go ahead and check out the taillights and see if all 3 elements are LED. So we do have an LED brake light portion, LED reverse light, and we also have an LED turn signal indicator, and this is going to be an amber LED turn signal indicator. So I really like the way this taillight looks, has a very premium design to it. And then as we drop down here to the lower area, you will notice that we have a lot of piano black trim. We also have some silver accenting, which gives you that rugged look as well.
Now moving on to our wheels, of course you have several different options. You will start out with 19-inch alloys on your EX and your Touring trim levels. The Elite trim level, though, will come with these wheels. These are 21-inch alloy wheels. These are actually the largest size offered in the Honda lineup. It has a very unique 6-spoke design, which I quite like the black contrast since it matches with the gloss black accents around the wheel arches and other places on the exterior of the vehicle, including up here at our mirrors. Now, in terms of technology on board with the mirrors, you do have standard heating, standard blind spot monitoring. We also have power folding and auto dimming on both the driver and passenger side for the Elite trim level.
Now here at the side, you do see that unique design continue, and as far as the overall vehicle length, it comes in at 192 inches long. Now, you may have not known this up until this point in the review, but this actually shares GM's Ultium platform, so this actually rides on the same platform as something like a Blazer EV. And if you're curious as to how this fits into the Honda lineup, it is most similar in size to the Honda Passport, and it's about 8 inches longer than a Honda CR-V. Now, as far as your safety systems are concerned, I do want to talk about this because Honda's including all 4 of your active safety features as standard equipment on every single Prologue model. Definitely happy to see that. I do want to point out, though, that GM's Super Cruise system will not be offered on this Prologue, though. But guys, let's go ahead and check out the very unique interior, but first,
if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, so let's go ahead and check out the interior. First of all, though, we will take a look at the key fob. You're going to have standard smart entry on the Prologue. This is what your key looks like. This is actually not your typical Honda key. This is a General Motors key with an H on it. and then we do have remote start built in. If you choose the Elite trim, you're also going to get the digital key system, so you can just use this key card to get inside. Now, there's not a sensor behind the handle. You're going to press the silver button to unlock the door. And when we open it up, take a look inside the interior. This is where things are going to start to change versus the exterior, because the exterior really looks nothing like a General Motors product, but you're going to see a lot more resemblance to General Motors products with the interior. But let's start to kind of get into some of the details first. So in terms of your seating material, the base EX will come with cloth seats. The Touring will get upgraded to leather, and then the Elite is going to upgrade to this perforated leather. As you can see, we have a really nice two-tone finish on board. This is our exclusive Elite brown and black combo, and I really dig the way this looks. It's a very premium looking seat. In terms of your adjustment, of course, you are also going to have 8-way power adjusting. That's standard across the board, and your 2-person memory seats are going to be included on Touring and Elite trims. But let's go ahead, climb inside, and get into all the individual details. Now that we're fully inside, the first thing I want to do is just go ahead and look at the overall materials inside of the cabin. We'll start out over here with our door trim. We do have the brown leatherette trim running through here, piano black accents there, and a soft touch plastic along the upper part of the door trim. As we move to the upper dashboard, all of this will be a soft touch plastic. The center section is finished again in that nice brown leather. And then we've got kind of that typical Honda single vent effect going on here. So you've got that one vent look as well as piano black accents running through the center section. And then the lower part of the console will not be padded or anything. Now, in terms of the overall design, I just want to go ahead and talk about that. Like I said, Honda did try to kind of mimic their design of other models, but as opposed to something like a CR-V, a Passport, it might feel a little bit unfamiliar to you if you're coming from those models, because a lot of the individual buttons and touch points are going to be borrowed from General Motors, including our push button start, which is located right here. All right, so taking a closer look at our gauge cluster, this is going to be obviously a full digital gauge cluster. It is measuring in at 11 inches. You can reconfigure certain aspects of the graphics, but everything looks really, really clear and crisp. Another thing that looks clear and crisp is your head-up display up there at the top. That's going to be included on the Elite trim level. Now, as we pull back to the steering wheel, we do have a nice leather-wrapped steering wheel on board. Again, this is borrowed mostly from General Motors in terms of our button arrangement here. It is also going to be heated if you choose the Elite trim level, and we have manual tilt and telescoping across the lineup. Now, I want to take a look at interior storage next, because I think Honda really did a lot of work here to prioritize storage space. So, underneath of our center console here, first of all, you're going to see some donuts. That's because this is Car Confections, and we like to do the donut test. Even when we travel, we like to do the donut test. But as you can see, we didn't quite pack enough, because this is a big center console. We thought it was going to be smaller, but it has enough space for 16 donuts inside of here. You also have a wireless phone charging pad. This is a slot style, so you don't have to worry about it sliding out. You got your 2 cup holders, and then you have this huge amount of space here with a nice rubber pad. Nothing's going to slide around on this. You have USB-Cs, 12-volt outlet, and this is a center pass-through as well. So you've got all this storage underneath here. I'm very impressed by this, and they're certainly using the fact that this is electric to their advantage when it comes to interior storage. Now, we also have a column-mounted shifter out of the way. Operation of this is simple. Just pull down for drive, go up for reverse. And when you go into reverse, you're going to find a 360-degree camera system when you choose the Elite trim level. We've got a lot of different views that you can pick between, as you can tell down there at the bottom. You also still get front and rear parking sensors, even if you choose lower Touring trim level as well. And then just press the end for park. The mirror does also tilt down when in reverse to help you see the parking lines easier. Now, the philosophy of not being overly complicated with the exterior does continue in the interior as well, because as you can see, we have just a fully analog climate control setup. So we just have these large buttons here to adjust your dual zone automatic climate, which is standard across the board. You also have standard 3-stage heated seats located right there. And if you want seat ventilation, you can get that by choosing the Elite trim level. Another thing that's satisfyingly analog for an electric vehicle is a traditional volume knob. Now, Touring and Elite are going to upgrade from the standard 6-speaker sound system to a 12-speaker Bose premium sound system. And let's go ahead and give that a sample right now. Yeah, so overall sound quality of this system is quite nice. Really fills up the cabin well. Okay, so let's go ahead and zero in next on our display. So in terms of the display size, this is an 11.3-inch display. The software is going to be different, though, than what you see on a lot of Honda products. This is an Android Automotive-based system. So that does mean that's powering the backbone of it, and you're also going to have all your Google apps built in. So you've got your Play Store, your Google Assistant, your GPS is going to be Google Maps, which is really, really nice. But one thing I do want to point out, compared to the Blazer EV, which is a vehicle we drove about a month ago, this does have wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay built in. So General Motors has decided that this is good enough and they don't want those systems built in anymore, but Honda is keeping those in here, thankfully, because I feel like a lot of people really appreciate having Android Auto and Apple CarPlay both able to run completely wirelessly. Now, the other interesting thing about this display is that you have some traditional controls that you usually find in the switchgear. So for example, your headlights are going to be adjusted right here with this little control at the top. If you want to get to your fog lights, the way you do that is clicking that button that I just pressed and then pressing there. So you do have some interesting ways to control the lighting on board with this new Prologue. Now, as we go above, you are going to find a auto-dimming mirror up top. This is included with the Touring trim level. And also included with the Touring trim level is going to be this panoramic sunroof. As you can see, we do have a full sunshade, and importantly, this is a sunroof that does open up. So a lot of EVs, of course, don't let you open up the front panel, but this one does open up.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this Prologue's rear seat. Now, of course, this is an all-new vehicle, and this rear seat area, I have to say, is very impressive. Now, Honda has not provided us with official legroom specs just yet, legroom or headroom specs for that matter. However, I can just say from personal experience, we review hundreds of cars every single year. There is a lot of space back here. It's going to be very similar to something like a Blazer EV, and of course, here at Car Confections, we want to get those knee measures for you. So this seat is adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8", and I'm 5'9". And with that adjustment, we're sitting at 9 inches of knee space. That is a ton of room, guys. You're going to be very pleasantly surprised, even if you're a taller folk. And then as far as down here at the bottom, you can fit your feet underneath of the seat. And then as far as the headroom is concerned, certainly a decent amount of headroom as well. We hope Honda will release those specs when it goes on sale later this year. Now, as far as the seat itself is concerned, we do have 2 adjustments for recline. So this is your most upright position, and then you can go back about a 1/4 inch there, so hopefully you don't want to recline too far, but it does have 2 different stages of recline. And then down here in the center, we have standard rear vents. We have this little hole here, and then you also have 2 USB-C ports and a household-style outlet, so you can definitely keep things charged up. We also have a fold-down center armrest with cup holders inside. Do be aware, though, no heated rear seats on the Prologue for any of the trim levels. As far as the door trim is concerned, we do have a hard-touch upper portion, so this is going to be a little bit cheaper than the front part, but we do have leatherette covering most of the rest of it, and then we do also have a bottle storage down the very bottom. Now, walking up to the cargo area in this new Prologue, we do have a hands-free power tailgate on Touring and Elite trim levels. You will have a manual setup if you choose that base EX trim. And as far as this space is concerned, we do have a good amount. It's going to be about 25 cubic feet behind the second row of seats. If we fold those seats down, you're going to have a maximum of around 58 cubic feet. Now, it depends on what you're comparing that to. That is a pretty good amount of space for most electric SUVs. However, keep in mind if you're cross-shopping this between like a Honda CR-V hybrid, the CR-V hybrid is definitely going to have a little bit more space, about 20 cubic feet larger. Now, as far as the features are concerned, back here we do have a 12-volt outlet on the side, some LED lighting, no handles to fold the second row of seats, so I will have to reach up here and fold it down. It's not too bad to get that accomplished. And as you can see, they do fold 60-40 split folding. Of course, here at Car Confections, one of the things we like to do is measure stuff in case you're looking to haul stuff in the cargo area. And as far as with the seat adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8", we're sitting at 73 inches of overall cargo length. Behind the second row of seats, we are sitting at 34 inches of cargo length. And as far as the cargo width is concerned, 45 inches wide, so a good amount of space, definitely going to be very usable if you're hauling stuff. And then down here at the bottom, we have quite a large area here for storage, and then you also have room here for your charger.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about what you'll find under the hood of this Prologue. Well, for one thing, you're not going to find a frunk. We just have a lot of electrical components up here underneath the hood, and that's because we also have two different motor configurations for this model. So you have a front-wheel drive model, and you also have a dual motor all-wheel drive model. Both those are going to be making different power, but the battery pack itself will be the same. It will always be an 85 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack. Now, in terms of the actual power figures, the front-wheel drive version, which is standard on EX and Touring trims, that's going to give you 212 horsepower and 236 pound-feet of torque. But the dual-motor all-wheel drive, which is standard on the Elite trim level and optional on the other two, that will give you 288 horsepower and 333 pound-feet of torque.
Now, as far as range is concerned, the best model will be your front-wheel drive, of course. That's coming in at 296 miles of EPA estimated range. If you choose dual-motor all-wheel drive, it comes in at 281 miles. And do keep in mind, if you choose the top-end Elite model, that does impact your range just a little bit because you do have those larger wheels. Now, for charging, you can go at speeds of up to 155 kilowatts, which is good to get you 65 miles of range in as little as 10 minutes. Now, I do want to point out, as far as your charge port, it is going to launch with CCS. However, it will have NACS as the charging standard starting next year.
Now, I'm sure at this point you probably want to see the performance out on the road, and we also want to show you guys that. However, we are under a driving impressions embargo currently, and out of respect for Honda, and of course all of our fellow journalists, we will be honoring that until the embargo lifts on February 22nd. We wanted to go ahead and show you guys all the features, take a good look at the design out here in the natural daylight as opposed to the studio, but we will be driving it extensively on February 22nd. So go ahead and set your calendars and be ready for that review.
All right, and let's go ahead and talk about pricing for this all-new Prologue. Now, we're going to start at $47,400 for the EX front-wheel drive model. Now, the all-wheel drive is going to add $3,000, so $50,400. Touring front-wheel drive, $51,700. Touring all-wheel drive, $54,700. And then Elite is all-wheel drive exclusive, so that will be $57,900 as a starting point. Now, once you add destination, it's going to be about $59,000 for a fully loaded example like what we have today. Now, one thing I do want to talk about is the tax credit. Now, a lot of vehicles are disqualified from the tax credit. However, Honda was quick to point out that they do believe this Prologue will qualify for the full $7,500. Of course, if your personal tax situation allows you to take advantage of that, that is something that could be on the table with this Prologue to reduce that price down. So you may be looking at a lower $50,000 price point for this Elite model. And you may be curious as to when you can get your hands on this Prologue, and Honda says that this will be available for purchase at dealerships in March of this year. So you only have to wait a little bit longer to get this Prologue. It will be on sale. And guys, that's going to be where we leave off on this in-depth review of the all-new 2024 Honda Prologue. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you help get us invited to events like this where we can come out to Napa, California and sample some of the latest products that Honda has to offer. So please hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't already. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.